Next one says, hey again, guys, I recently had a few sites, WordPress sites using MPP get slapped by the recent Google Algo update. Yeah, I can imagine. These are sites with Gstacks, excuse me, an IFTTT network set up, but no GMB. One site in particular was ranking #1 for a number of keywords. In this type of event, what initial actions would you suggest in order to get the sites back to their former glory? Cheers. You know, I don't know, because I don't do any of that mass page stuff. I did have full intentions on doing that a while back, but never got around to it just because other stuff occurred in my business that took my attention away from it. And I got away from doing mass page sites years ago. I'm not saying that the strategy isn't still effective, but I got away from that strategy specifically for what you just mentioned. I had many sites years ago. I did a lot of that mass page stuff, and we invested a ton of time and effort into building a team. And I had over 275 sites killed in overnight. Just an enormous amount of money and effort and time put into all of that just to have it wiped out overnight because of a de-indexing by Google. And that just killed it for me. Like it just completely turned me off of mass page stuff. MPP is different. I know Mike Martin teaches about, starting smaller first and then just kind of expanding out from like at a local level. You start with just a few pages, magic pages, and then you kind of start to expand out once you start getting traction. That makes a lot more sense to me. When I was doing them, we were building like 30,000 page sites like that. And again, I had hundreds and hundreds of sites that I'd spent a lot of money developing with a team of VAs and everything else, and just lost it overnight. And that just turned me off. I had such a bad taste in my mouth after that I just stopped doing that. I don't like churn and burn, right? I like stuff that has longevity. You build it once and it pays you over and over. You might have to maintain it, sure, but it pays you over and over again for, far into the future. Those are the kind of projects I like. Now, again, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of doing mass page stuff or magic page plugin stuff, because I know it's a viable strategy and can still work. But how do you recover sites that have been slapped like that? I don't know. I don't know that you can. And again, I don't do that kind of work anymore and haven't for years. So I don't have a good answer for you, except that potentially you could do redirects from the site that got slapped to a new domain. Like, in other words, set up a new domain and then just do a 1-to-1 redirect ratio, which you can do in htaccess in your server or your host, or you could even leave your existing WordPress site up and use simple 301 redirects. I don't know that that's a good one anymore. I don't know that one works as good as it used to, but simple 301 redirects is a WordPress plugin, and they have an add-on plugin that's for bulk redirects. And it allows you to upload a CSV sheet with the source URL. So the original URL in column 1 or column A, and then in column B, you have the redirect URL. So you can do a 1-to-1 page ratio. In other words, you can clone your existing site, the one that got slapped. Then you can install that clone on a new domain. And then you set up a 1-to-1 redirect for every page on the site that got slapped that redirects to its new corresponding page on the new domain. Does that make sense? And you could probably even do that in Cloudflare with just a wildcard redirect directive under page rules. You could probably do that as well. And also Cloudflare has a bulk redirects option now too. So you could probably do it in Cloudflare without having to worry about using a plugin that may be deprecated, like simple 301 redirects. I don't know if it is or not. I just know that it stopped working for me a while back, and I haven't checked on it in a while. But the whole point is to do like a redirect, and sometimes you can actually recover it that way. Well, won't it just pass the penalty? Not always. Years ago when Penguin wreaked havoc, and I mean, this was many years ago, like 2012, 2013, but that was a lot of the times how we would recover sites that got slapped was just doing a redirect to a new domain. Sometimes you do a double redirect. So you do a redirect from the existing site that got slapped through a domain that's just a redirect domain to a final destination. So it was like a double redirect. Does that make sense? And we were able to recover sites. Again, I haven't tested any of that kind of stuff in years, but we were able to recover sites that way back then. A double redirect would definitely work years ago. I don't know that it still does now, but sometimes it's just the domain itself is burned and you can redirect the old to the new. And why do I say redirect instead of just replacing the site? Well, because as you mentioned, you have Gstacks and IFTTT networks, right? Syndication networks. So if you've got Gstacks and all of that, you've already got like this infrastructure built out with links that are already pointing back to your site that got slapped. So how do you pass that link equity and not lose all that work and have to go in and manually edit all of the G stacks and the IFTTT posts and all of that stuff? That's how you do it, is just set up redirects. I don't know that that will still work, because again, it's been years since I've tested anything like that, but years ago, that's how we would do it. It was just a matter of, sometimes you could recover it from just a redirect from the old to the new, but sometimes it would, and sometimes you recover that, and then a few weeks later or a few months later, a couple of months later, it would end up, contracting the penalty that the original had. So that's why we started experimenting with double redirects, where we would just use an in-between. So we would have the original, then an in-between domain that was nothing other than another set of redirects that would then redirect to the final, the new site. And we were able to recover that way, and that would stick. Like, we wouldn't end up getting slapped. And again, sometimes just one redirect would be sufficient. It would work. So you just have to play around with that too. Or a better, probably a much quicker answer would have been, go ask in the Magic Page plugin group, because I'm sure there's some people over there that have experienced that same sort of thing. And what do they do to recover their sites? You know what I mean? Okay.